My sister borrowed $200,000 from me and escaped to Europe with her husband and his parents. Just 3 days later, she called screaming. End this immediately. Have you ever had someone you love look you in the eye and casually tell you they've decided your entire purpose in life is to fund theirs? And then, just weeks later, find out they stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from you to prove their point? So who am I? My name's Adam. I'm 35, and yeah, I'm a film director. I'm the oldest child, the one who lives by color-coded call sheets, the guy who's always got notes, casting ideas, and voice memos reminding himself to breathe on his phone. I don't drink on set. I never miss a deadline. You hand me a problem at 2 in the morning, I'll quietly solve it before the sun comes up. That's just how I'm built. My sister, Leia, she's 2 years younger. She calls me Hollywood, like it's some kind of insult. She's married to Brett, you know the type. Loafers, no socks, drops networking into every third sentence. Their social media is all identical smiles in front of expensive countertops, marble, quartz, whatever's trending that week. The night it started, I was at Mom's house, just grabbing a box of old Super 8 reels I'd promised to digitize for her. Mom was futzing with a pie that, honestly, didn't need any futzing. Leia and Brett. They were glued to their phones, thumbs swiping like they were getting paid by the scroll. The TV was playing some travel show about Lake Como. You know, the kind everyone pretends not to watch, but secretly can't tear their eyes from. Leia didn't even look up when I walked in. Adam, she said, her voice completely bored. You're late again. I checked my watch. I was 15 minutes early. I'm on time, I told her. She just smirked at Brett. Directors, she said, like I wasn't even there. Time is just a suggestion for them. Funny, I deadpanned. I brought Dad's old reels. Mom offered a sad little smile, like the word Dad was a scene she needed to reshoot. That's nice, honey. We sat down. There was this weird static in the air. Leia reached for the salad, her wrists clinking with a stack of bracelets. Sounded like they were keeping score. She set the bowl down, finally looked at me. You'll be glad to know we figured out your role, she announced. My role? In the family? I asked, confused. She just shrugged. You direct. We live. You invest in futures like ours, and in return, you get to feel useful. It's a win-win. Brett chuckled, chiming in. He's the structure, we're the story. My fork froze, halfway to my mouth. The whole room went silent. Only the soft piano music and blue water from the TV travel show filled the space. Mom cleared her throat. Don't start, she warned me, like I was the one who'd just assigned myself some job nobody asked for. I'm not starting, I said. Leia leaned back, her eyes unwavering. Good, she said. Because this is how it's going to be from now on, Adam. Less resistance. For a second, just a second, I thought I'd misheard her. Maybe she meant something normal? But she held my gaze, and I felt this tiny snap inside, like a thread finally breaking. I didn't say anything clever. I didn't throw a fit. I just slowly put my fork down, folded the napkin, and said, okay. Nobody moved. Leia actually smiled, like she'd just landed a plane perfectly. On TV, someone dove into that bright blue lake. And somewhere in my chest, a door slammed shut. I grabbed the reels and I left. I told myself I was overthinking it. I told myself it was just Leia being Leia. I told myself a lot of things. Until the night I opened my banking app, and I understood exactly what she meant by less resistance. I was 12 when my dad handed me my first camcorder. He'd just been laid off, so we weren't eating out much back then. It was a lot of grilled cheese, watching movies together, talking about camera shots, why some scenes just felt true. When he died, that camera came to me. It felt like a baton in a relay race nobody else wanted to run. I took night classes, I shot awful commercials, I filmed weddings where people asked me to make us look like a film. Every single check I earned went to rent, equipment, or those student loans that made my entire 20s feel like a long, fluorescent-lit hallway. Leia? She didn't do hallways. She did skylights. New phones. New trips. New reasons for me to be the fix. I paid her deposit when her first apartment suddenly needed 3 months up front. I covered Brett's bridge month when he quit a job to launch something that, well, it never actually launched. I paid a dentist bill, a car repair, another dentist bill. Every single time, it came with that blonde smile, that whispered promise. Just this once. You're amazing. We'll pay you back. And Mom, she was always there, feeding the script. Your sister isn't built like you, Adam, she'd say. You're strong. You'll be fine. Translation, you recover fast, so you can take the hit. When my first feature film premiered, Leia missed the screening. Why? Yoga retreat, of course. She sent a heart emoji and this long voice note about how proud she was, before casually asking if I could float her for 2 more weeks. And I did. Of course I did. Now, here's the boring part. The part nobody ever puts in a montage: spreadsheets, tax folders, line items. The IRA I opened with $50 auto deposits. The production LLC with its own account, so I wouldn't ever blur my money with investor money. The habit of photographing every single receipt like it mattered. Because it did. Then, in January, it happened. I sold a script. The kind of deal with milestones, deliverables, and a wire transfer that actually made me sit down when the notification hit. A big chunk was already earmarked for crew bonuses on a brutal indie film I'd just wrapped. Another chunk? That was for a down payment on a small house near the studio. Finally, I could stop living out of boxes. The rest? Cushion. A word I'd never really understood before. I called Mom, and she just said, finally, like I'd graduated from being merely useful to being very useful. 2 weeks later, Leia invited us all over. Big roast. New candles that smelled exactly like old money. Brett was already pouring drinks when I arrived. He clinked my glass. To family ventures, he slurred. Red flag, for sure. But I just set my glass down gently. We ate. We did the small talk thing. That travel show was on again, Lake Como's water looking like a screensaver. Leia waited until the plates were stacked, then she put her phone face down, like she was about to deliver a TED Talk. So, she began, we're going to Europe. Mom clasped her hands together. Oh, how lovely. Leia added, with Brett's parents. They've never been. It'll be, life-changing. A bonding experience before the next chapter. Next chapter? I asked. She shrugged. We're trying this summer, so it's kind of now or never for a long trip. Mom's eyes flicked to me, like I was the one who needed to sign a permission slip. I'm happy for you, I said. And I mostly meant it. Trips are fine. Babies are fine. Life is fine. Leia took a deep, theatrical breath. We are a little tight, though. There it was. Brett stared at the ceiling like finances were just some weather pattern he couldn't control. How tight? I asked. Leia laughed, a little too brightly. Not tight, just, the flights are insane. And hotels in August are, Mom jumped in. Your sister deserves something nice, Adam. You work all the time. You never even use your vacation days. I just stared at them. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Production text, schedule change, location pulled out. Under that, a weather alert. And then, a PayPal request from Leia. Caption, deposit. I didn't open it. How much? I asked again, my voice flat. Leia twirled a bracelet around her wrist. Oh, we'll pay you back as soon as we're back. It's not even a loan, more like a temporary transfer. Temporary? Brett echoed. How much? I asked one more time. Leia inhaled, like she was about to dive into that blue lake on screen. 200. I blinked. 200 what? She blinked back, innocent. 1,000. The room tilted. My brain did this stupid thing, separating syllables out of habit, like I was editing dialogue. 200. Thou. Sand. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. No, Adam. Mom snapped. Don't be cruel. Cruel? I said. Leia set her phone upright, screen black and reflective, like a cold, watching eye. We know you can. It's your role. My jaw locked. I stood up, grabbed my jacket. I can't. And I won't. Leia's mouth twisted into a snarl. Wow, she said. Money changed you. I walked out. My hands were shaking on the drive home. I tried to breathe. Stupid, simple breaths. 2 days passed. I went back to set. I watched actors deliver lines about forgiveness, words I'd written months ago for a character who definitely wasn't me. I kept my phone face down, trying not to look. Then, Tuesday night, I opened my banking app. I needed to schedule those crew bonuses. The number stared back at me. Less. So much less than it should have been. My thumb went cold. 2 transfers. Same day. 1 memo. External transfer, travel. The other. External transfer, family support. 2 separate, massive amounts. And in the fine print, linked devices and existing authorization. I froze. I checked my passwords. My phone, my laptop, my tablet. I'd locked them down tight ever since Brett, in a helpful moment, had updated my settings for convenience. I'd removed every single trusted device except my own. I'd even turned off Face ID for other faces. I scrolled through the payments again and again. Then I saw a third entry. Authorized user added, platinum. That's when I remembered. I scrolled through the vault of scanned papers I keep for tax season. I sat there on my couch, holding my breath until my head ached. And there it was, buried deep after a folder of casting agreements. A PDF simply labeled Help Leia Mom. I opened it. It was a power of attorney form from 2 years ago. I'd been in Vancouver for a shoot, and Mom had had a scare with the house. I'd filled it out, temporarily, so she could sign some property tax paperwork while I was on a flight. We'd never canceled it. I hadn't thought about it since. I called Mom. She answered on the second ring, breathless. Don't you dare raise your voice at me, she snapped. Before I'd even said a word. I didn't yell. I just said, "Where's Leia?" "Don't you speak to your sister like she's a criminal," she shot back. "Where is she?" I repeated, my voice ice cold. "Packing," Mom said, her voice dropping a little. "Their flight is in the morning." I just stared at the wall. "You used my form." "It's family," she said, like that word was a magic key that unlocked every door, justified everything. "It's theft," I told her. Silence. Then a soft, dismissive cluck. "You'll get it back. Don't be so dramatic. $200,000. Temporary. Less resistance." That black screen, like an eye, watching me sit very, very still. That night, I didn't sleep. At dawn, I made coffee I didn't drink. I opened the shared photo album Mom insists on using for birthdays. A new upload popped up. Leia's boarding pass, underneath a glass of airport champagne. Caption, CCO responsibilities. Then Brett's photo. For passports fanned out on a marble counter. His. Leia's. His parents. Like a prize. I stared until my eyes stung. Then, I turned my phone landscape. And I started taking screenshots. Every single one. 3 days later, my phone rang. I was blocking a scene. Unknown number. European country code. I sent it straight to voicemail. It rang again. Same number. Then Leia's name popped up, a FaceTime request. I stepped away from the glaring lights, answered on audio only. Her voice hit me like a splash of cold water. "Adam, stop this right now." "I'm working," I said, completely calm. "Turn it off. Whatever you did, undo it." "Be specific," I demanded. Her breath came fast, like she'd been running. "The card doesn't work. The hotel says the payment reversed. Our flight home, there's some hold. Brett's parents are in the lobby, and everyone is staring at us like we're scammers." I leaned against a wall, staring at a dent where a sandbag had kissed the paint last week. "Right," I said. "Adam," she hissed. "Mom said you'd be reasonable. This is humiliating." "I sent documentation to the bank," I replied. "Fraud affidavit. The POA is revoked. And police reports have been filed." "You filed the police? Are you insane?" I kept my voice level. A lawyer's looped in. "Leia, you initiated an internal transfer out of an account you had no right to touch, using a power you never actually had. We'll let the bank sort it out." "You're taking this too far," she snapped. "You don't want this to get ugly. Brett's dad knows people. We can make this very complicated for you." "Leia," I said. "You already did." Silence. Then, the switch to manipulation. Like a gear change. "What about the baby?" she asked, her voice suddenly quiet. "We told you. We're trying. Stress isn't good. Do you want to be the reason?" "Don't," I said, my voice hardening. "Do not put a pretend baby between my money and your trip." She sucked in a sharp breath. "Wow," she whispered. "You really are heartless." I took my phone off my ear, looked at her name, glowing green like some alien signal. "Put it back," I said. "The crew bonuses go out Friday. The guys who worked nights in the rain? They're getting paid. The house closes in 2 weeks. My attorney will be in touch about a repayment plan and the criminal side. I'm also freezing anything with my name on it that you touched, and I'm notifying every lender who added you without my consent." "You're ruining us," she cried. "Over what? Over a family trip? Over $200,000 of my money," I said flat. "Over a lifetime of you expecting me to fix all of your choices." Brett's voice cut in from the background. "Put him on speaker." Then, louder. "Adam, buddy." "Don't call me buddy." I cut him off. "Look, clearly there's been a misunderstanding. We'll pay you back when we refinance." I laughed once. It sounded ugly. "When you refinance what, Brett?" "Your vibes, Adam," Leia said, suddenly crisp. "Stop the chargebacks. Stop the report. We will wire something today. Send it to my attorney," I said. "Adam," she tried again, softer this time. "Hollywood. It used to be a joke that stung. Now it was just noise. I have to get back to set," I told her. "This conversation is over." "You'll regret this," she snapped. "Mom will never forgive you." "Then I guess we're all finally being honest," I said. And I hung up. I stood there in that quiet corridor, a roll of gaffer tape at my feet, the smell of paint and cheap coffee in the air. I heard my first AD calling for a reset. Somewhere down the hall, an actor was running lines under his breath. I walked back in, nodded at the camera, and just said, from the top. The bank froze everything with my name on it faster than I ever expected. Fraud department, red flags, hold codes. I just wrote them all down in a notes app, one titled Leia. The power of attorney was revoked in a conference room, my lawyer using phrases like egregious breach and unauthorized enrichment. I asked him, "Do we have to go nuclear?" He looked at the numbers. "Adam," he said, "you're already in the mushroom cloud." Mom left 8 voicemails the first day. The first 3 were pure anger. "How could you do this to your sister?" The next 3 were bargaining. "Just lift the hold for one hotel, Adam. They're being embarrassed." And the last 2? That tired martyr voice I knew far too well. You're tearing this family apart. I saved every single one. I didn't reply. On set, I was steady, in a way that honestly scared me. It was like directing on a cliff's edge. Your feet feel the drop, but your hands still draw the same straight lines. I watched dailies at midnight. I sent those crew bonuses on Friday. One grip even texted me a photo of a rent receipt, with thank you and a heart. I stared at it like it was proof humanity still made sense. Leia's Instagram went quiet. Brett's parents' account? Not so much. An anonymous account popped into my DMs, a photo of them at a front desk, faces blurred. Text overlay, when your luxury plan meets reality. I didn't share it. I don't do public humiliation. I didn't need the internet to clap for me. I needed my money back, and I needed my boundaries to actually mean something. By Monday, my lawyer had drafted a repayment schedule. With teeth. Accountants had put the numbers into a table that looked boring, until you realized each cell was a month of someone else's entitlement. Interest. Defaults. Consequences. He CC'd Leia and Brett. Brett replied 3 minutes later. We won't sign anything until we talk like adults. Families shouldn't involve lawyers. Leia replied 5 minutes after that. A paragraph, all about love and duty, and how I'd forgotten where I came from. I wrote back one line. You can address counsel. That afternoon, the family group chat absolutely exploded. Aunties, cousins, people who hadn't even sent me a congratulations text for my film, but suddenly had very strong opinions about my heart. The most common theme? Blood. As if blood was some contract I'd signed in my sleep. I muted the thread and went for a walk around the block. Pigeons fought over a croissant. A man yelled at a parking meter. Life kept being exactly what it is. That night, Mom called from a blocked number. I answered. Because, sadly, I'm still me. She started with a sigh, like I was already exhausting her. You've made your point, she said. It's not a point, I told her. It's a boundary. Semantics. They're stranded. They are in Italy, I countered. With access to 2 sets of parents. They are not stranded. She clicked her tongue. You've always been so cold. Mom, I said, keeping my voice utterly even. I paid Leia's rent 3 times. I covered Brett's business launch. I bought tires for their car because they were dangerous. I sent cash when they lost a wallet. I let a temporary power of attorney linger because you asked me to. I am tired. Silence. Then the line went quiet in that specific way that means tears. I closed my eyes and leaned my head back against the wall. You'll ruin the relationship, she finally choked out. It was already broken, I said. I'm just not pretending it isn't anymore. For 2 weeks, I lived in 2 timelines. One was tight. Work, sleep, lawyer, spreadsheets. The other was loud. Relatives' messages, a call from Brett's dad that started calm and ended with a threat. He even phrased it as a favor. I recorded it. Sent it to my lawyer. He just laughed, without humor. They're used to handshakes, he said. You're giving them contracts. 3 small things happened in that time that shouldn't matter, but they did. First, my DP left a coffee on my chair, with a note. For whatever they took. He didn't mean the money. Second, I went to look at a house. Nothing special. White paint, a crooked hallway, a backyard the size of a film trailer. The realtor talked about entertaining. I just pictured a folding table with script pages spread out, a lamp, quiet. I put in an offer. I didn't tell anyone. Third, Leia texted me. I'm sorry. At 2:17 a.m. A minute later. Can you call me? I stared at the screen until my eyes hurt. Then I put the phone face down. And for the first time in weeks, I actually fell asleep. The very next morning, my lawyer forwarded a wire transfer. The first chunk. It wasn't everything. Nowhere close. But it was something. It came with a signed agreement, after all. Minimum monthly amounts, collateral listed as their vehicle and non-retirement brokerages. I didn't gloat. I didn't reply to Leia's apology. I just let the document be the conversation. By Friday, the family group chat had totally imploded on itself. A cousin posted a paragraph about accountability. An aunt wrote, but family, again. And then another aunt wrote. He said, no. It was the strangest sensation. People arguing about me like I wasn't even there. I just closed the app. 2 days later, Leia swung by my apartment. Without warning, I opened the door to her face. Tired. Puffy. Less curated. No bracelets. No smile. Can we talk? She asked. We are, I said and stepped aside. Because, you know, I was raised by the same woman who taught me to always offer water, even when you really want to throw the glass. She stood in my living room, looking so small. I messed up, she said. And for a second, just a second, it actually sounded like truth. You stole, I said. She nodded. Brett said we could figure it out later. And Mom said you wouldn't miss it. She choked on her own sentence. I'm sorry. I waited. People think apologies are like a magic spell. They say the word, and time rewinds. It doesn't. It just pauses. You still have to move. We signed, she added. We're paying. I sold some stocks. Dad. Brett's dad. She stopped. Whatever. I saw the transfer, I told her. She looked up, hopeful. So, can you unfreeze the card? Just for groceries for a few weeks. I shook my head. No, her mouth tightened. I said I'm sorry. And I said, no. She stared at me like I'd become a stranger. Maybe I had. Maybe that was the whole point. On her way out, she touched the boxes by my door. Books. A small lamp. The framed production still Dad took of me at 17, with a boom mic too heavy for my shoulder. Are you moving? She asked. Soon, I said. To where? Somewhere quiet, I told her. She paused, like she might say something real. Then she didn't. She just left. The door clicked shut. My apartment felt huge. I closed my eyes and pictured Lake Como again. Blue water. Piano music. A woman with bracelets, finally realizing you can't buy silence anymore. People think closure is a big speech. It isn't. It's a list. A list you keep on your phone, and you actually follow it. I closed that old savings account and opened a new one, with actual human eyes behind it. I removed every single trusted device that wasn't mine, double-checked that Face ID was just my face, and deleted that ancient, scan POA I should never have left floating around like a loose nail on a set. I told my lawyer we weren't pressing criminal charges. For now. Because I didn't want to tie my next year to courtrooms. I also told him that one missed payment, just one, would trigger everything. He just said, good, in a tone that meant, finally. And I bought that crooked house. The first night in the quiet, I ate takeout off a moving box. I listened to the refrigerator hum, like a shy animal. I tacked a call sheet to the wall by the door, out of habit. Scene 1 morning. Scene 2, coffee. Scene 3, write something anyway. My brain kept waiting for my phone to explode, to shout me back into the role I used to play. It didn't. A text came from my grip. The bonuses saved my month. Another from my editor. Locked. Those messages felt like small, specific blessings. The kind you actually earn. Mom hasn't been by. We spoke once. She tried to reframe the story without even hearing herself. It got out of hand. It was a misunderstanding. You could have handled it privately. I did, I said. You made it public. You're cruel, she cried, her voice shaking. I'm consistent, I told her. When we hung up, I didn't cry. I made tea and trimmed an email. Because that's who I am when nobody's watching. Leia and I text sometimes now. Sure things. Logistics. Payments. A photo of a grocery list with the word budget on it. Hers, not mine. I didn't respond with a lesson. I'm done being a coach for people who don't show up for practice. I visit Dad's reel on my new shelf and say out loud, I did it. He doesn't answer. He never did. He just stood next to me while I tried. Somehow that's enough. Brett sent a long apology email last week. It read like a legal document in a suit that didn't fit. He signed it with respect. I archived it. Respect isn't a paragraph. Respect is not touching what isn't yours. Respect is showing up when it's inconvenient and shutting up when it's time to listen. I saw a travel show last night while I was unpacking. Lake Como, again, because the algorithm knows I stared at those photos for too long. The piano music was soft. The water was pretty. I didn't feel bitter. I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt here. In a house that's mine, with a lock that turns, and a bank account that holds my money. I keep one rule posted on my fridge now. It's printed in 14-point font, like a script note. I am not your ATM. It's not cute. It's not a joke. It's a boundary. Simple. Blunt. Solid. Leia knows it. Mom knows it. But I know it most of all. If you want the moral of the story, it's boring, because good morals usually are. People will use you as long as you let them. They'll call it family. They'll call it love. They'll dress it up in bracelets and soft words. And when you finally say no, they'll call you names, because their mouths have never practiced thank you without again attached. Say no anyway. Say it until the echo gets quiet. I'm Adam. I direct things. Shots. Crews. My own life. The story I'm telling now has fewer characters, but better lighting. The conflicts are honest. The budget is real. And the last line is the only one that matters. I don't allow myself to be used anymore. Have you ever had to draw a line with family like this? Or faced a betrayal that forced you to put your own well-being first? Tell me what you think. I really want to know.